Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I'm coming to you live from Florida. It is Monday, which means it's book club day. If you're here in the U.S., I wish you a happy Memorial Day, and I hope you're taking the time to just remember those that serve our country. We are in the midst of this book, Wisdom Untethered, and it is full of so much. The book is written in the form of question and answer. Questions that I believe we've all asked ourselves at one point. Maybe didn't know who to go to for answers like this. This isn't just like typical knowledge or personal development. These are questions about spiritual growth. You know, we started out talking about the mind, and then we talked about emotions, and this whole chapter is about ego and self-concepts, this self-construct that we create about ourselves. And so we are going to finish out this chapter today. It might be a shorter book club because we just have about 3 more questions in this, and I thought it would be a good place to just stop before we start the next section. But I'm curious, if you're joining me live, let me know when you get here. And if you're, hey Tina, good to see you, welcome back. If you're catching the replay, let me know you're on the replay. So we finished out last week. It was kind of an interesting topic. It was about boundaries, and this is an interesting conversation because I think a lot of times people are taught and are educated that you need to have clear boundaries with people, right? And if you have clear boundaries, then you're clear on yourself. You're protecting yourself and all of these things. And what spiritual development says is, well, hang on a second. When you are creating boundaries, you're actually putting a box around yourself. And while that might be effective in not getting emotionally triggered and not being like pulled off by somebody else or offended by somebody else or keeping the people that do offend you right on the other side of that barrier, it can be effective, yes, but there's no real growth happening because now you've protected yourself from life. Life's not getting into you. You're kind of in like a little isolated bubble. And some people say, yes, well, I'm happy in my bubble. Yes, but are you developing? Are you being challenged? Are you growing in the same ways you could? Because what we're learning is that life, day by day, moment by moment, every interaction kicks up stuff inside of us, right? This is why people put boundaries, because they say, oh, I don't like how you're making me feel. Well, the thing is that person's not making you feel a certain way. They triggered something inside of you. The thing was in you. Right? That person could have acted the same way to 5 people and only one of them is getting really upset because that person had something inside of them that got triggered by it. So most people say, well, put boundaries around so you don't get triggered. What I would offer, and this is very counter to what culture and society and maybe even therapists would be telling you, is that, I mean, obviously you don't want to be past your edge too much, but start to learn how to keep yourself open, to allow these disturbances to come in, to allow these triggers to come, because the trigger is the teacher. It's teaching you what is this thing inside of you that's unhealed, right? Something from your past, maybe because of the way that your brother used to treat you when you were little, right? And talk down to you and be condescending to you. And so now when you're in, places with authority, so maybe there's a boss or someone in your life that has that same condescending tone, you put up a boundary. You're learning how to keep them out here so that you don't get triggered in here. And what I'm saying is, don't do that, right? Look at that as an opportunity. Thank the boss. Thank the situation in this moment. Rather than blocking them out, say, yeah, come because you're revealing to me something that's unhealed inside of me. That's what it's all about. All right, and so that's what we finished last book club talking about. This was question number 7. How can I balance letting go with maintaining personal boundaries? And basically, Mickey finishes it by saying, look, don't be afraid to let go of your boundaries. He says they're not keeping you safe, they are keeping you small. You will actually grow when you allow these things to come in because you're going to see these parts of yourself that are unhealed. You're going to be able to transcend them, to truly let them go. He says, do your best to let life in. Watch what happens when you stop protecting yourself from something that was never really threatening you in the first place. That boss is not actually threatening you. You're taking it that way. You're doing the little magic trick of making it very personal, but it's not. The boss is just being the boss. Okay? The person's just doing the thing. All right, you're making it personal by this magic trick of this inner reaction that's feeling very real. And so that's what he's saying. Learn to let life in. learn to expand yourself, you will grow. If you keep boundaries, you're keeping yourself small. Okay? Now, the rest of the chapter was about a concept called spiritual bypassing and spiritual ego, which I want to just kind of set the stage for how I understand it. I think it'll help you get more out of this conversation we're about to have. So, it was taught to me that, there's really like 3 concentric circles. If we're thinking about like human psychology, body-mind psychology, you've got the thinking mind, the feeling body, and then the being state, the I am, what he's getting at, right? This witnessing presence that is always there. A lot of us are in our thinking mind. We go to therapy, we're in our thinking mind. And the thinking mind, right, is very helpful. It can figure things out. It can tell us maybe why we're feeling this way, right? It might even realize like, oh, it was because my brother would talk to me in a condescending way. Like, that's why I'm showing up the way that I'm showing up, right? The thinking mind is very helpful. The feeling body, right? This is where we actually allow the feeling to move through. We let it burn, right? We allow ourselves to be triggered, and rather than engaging with and getting angry at the person, we just let the anger kind of burn itself inside of us. Right? And then it's gone. Okay? And then you have the being state. This being is this witnessing presence that is like, it's like the sky. Okay? This is how I will describe it. It is not for or against anything. It has no likes or dislikes. Like the sky is just as fine with a thunderstorm as it is with rainbows, as it is with a rocket, as it is with birds and butterflies, right? It's just there. That same presence is inside of you. It's watching this whole saga of your life, right? My true self, my witnessing self, is watching the Danielle Matthews, saga play out. What happens with spiritual bypassing is people say they're in their thinking mind and they're maybe have experienced traumatic events, or they've experienced things that are uncomfortable, or they're feeling anxiety, and they say, wow, that sky sounds mighty nice. It feels really good to go to this unconditional, loving place where everything is fine. I don't have preference. I'm held. It's all wonderful and positive. Right? People hear about that, and by no fault of their own. I mean, who wouldn't want to go there? I'm trying to get there all the time, right? Like, that sounds like a wonderful place to be and live. And so by no fault of your own, right, we think, oh, I just need to jump there. Okay? But what happens is that if you just go from the thinking mind to this being presence, you didn't actually make it. You made it to the mind's concept of it. And all of that junk is still in your system because you didn't do the one thing that you actually have to do, which is go through the feeling body. Once you go through the feeling, a trap door opens up, and that's how you can get into the being state. Okay? Once you allow, it's like we talked about the tube, there's this stuff in there, these past things that have happened. You can't just think your way out of it. You have to feel it and finally let it finish flowing, through the tube. That's what you have to do. And so you have to feel the anxiety. You got to let it burn, right? Don't engage with it. Watch it. And then once it burns its way out, it's never there again. Okay, but spiritual bypassing basically avoids the feeling of it. It says, no, thank you. I don't want to feel it. I'm just going to skip right to the end. Okay, and people might have the right words and you might have the right language, but the truth is you didn't actually go through the darkness to get to the light, right? The obstacle is the way, as they say. So that's what these questions are about. I think they're good questions. If you didn't understand what spiritual bypassing was or is, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. So now we'll contextualize it with the question. So the question is, we're on page 28, chapter 3, question 8. I've been reading about spiritual bypassing, where people use spiritual practices to avoid dealing with deep emotions or trauma. Could your teachings on relaxing and releasing just be another form of spiritual bypassing? Am I truly healing, or am I just avoiding the pain by quote unquote letting it go? It's a good question. It's a very good question. He says, spiritual bypassing is just another term for resisting or suppressing the samskaras when they come up. I am a child of God, pure and positive. I should not be feeling painful vibrations. Therefore, I push them away so I can stay positive. I use my mantras to get away from all of these negative energies because I don't want to be negative. That is spiritual bypassing. And it's not healthy. It's not really spiritual. And it's not going to get you where you really want to go, right? He says, in drastic contrast, listen to this closely. This is what he's suggesting. If you recognize the disturbing vibrations from the past when they come up and relax in the face of them, you are giving them the opportunity to release, not outwardly, but inwardly. This is key. So I love the tube analogy. So there's something painful in there that you didn't let flow through, so it got blocked. Now in this moment, it's getting re-triggered. And what we're saying is, don't express that emotion. You don't go get angry and yell at somebody. We're just going to use anger as the example. You don't go get angry and yell. You stop. You say, anger is here, right? And rather than engaging with it and screaming at somebody, which we've all done and then regretted, right? You step back and you witness it. He says very clearly, he says it's not outward, but it's an inward acknowledgement of it. You give it the opportunity to release. It's like you let the pressure valve off and you go, I'm going to let the anger just be here. And then what does it do? It eventually burns itself out. I think about it like a kid having a temper tantrum, right? We've all seen it. We've all witnessed it. We've all been the one responsible for the child having the temper tantrum, right? And we're like, okay, what do we do? Well, you're not going to give in to the kid because that just reinforces that they get what they want if they throw a tantrum, and you're not going to tell them to stop. You're just going to let, because then it's going to be pent up. It's just going to come out later. You just kind of let it burn, right? I'm right here. When it calms down, when you're calm, we can talk, right? And it just burns its way out. That's exactly what you got to do with yourself, okay? You got to burn these things inwardly. Release them inwardly. That's what he's getting at. He says relaxing and releasing is not a way of avoiding. You're not avoiding it at all. You're letting it finally flow through. It's a way of letting the discomfort pass through you. The additional benefit of doing this is that you learn how to relax through different current situations instead of storing even more pain inside. Because the alternative, guys, when you get triggered, you get angry, etc., and you suppress it, well, you're just creating more of a ball. Think about when you go to cry and you don't let yourself. You feel it in your throat, right? And it's worse than it was before because now you're have this discomfort. It's the same thing. You're adding layers to it. If you would just let the tears out, what does it feel like after? Like a relief, right? That was that trap door that opened you from the feeling state to the being state. That's the relief we're talking about. That's where you can go. He says, welcome the purification that you need to go through. This is the opposite of spiritual bypassing. It is a spiritual cleansing. A truly spiritual being uses spiritual practices to remain centered as painful experiences pass through. You will learn to sit in the center of calmness inside of you, like the sky, and watch whatever's passing by without getting engaged emotionally in it. That's the key. He says they don't use practices to avoid or push the pain away. It's not like, I'm going to meditate so I don't have to think about how awful everything is. It's like, no, I'm doing that to cultivate the capacity to watch all this stuff come in. They welcome the pain and remain completely open as it releases. That's the purpose of relaxing and releasing, and over time, it leads to higher states. Over time, when you relax and release, that's the feeling part, and over time, the trapdoor opens, and it will take you to a higher state. This is what takes you to the being state. The meditative state. That is exactly what happens. All right, high five me. Put a 5 in the chat if you get this. This is different concept, heavier concept, right? But powerful concept. I'm glad it was asked. Okay, why do so many spiritual seekers get caught in the trap of spiritual bypassing? He said over here. So some people have constant temper tantrums. They never resolve tantrums that happen for years. Yes, some people aren't ready. Okay, so I always say use this as a mirror, not a sword, right? Don't point out what others are doing wrong or how they're not doing this, but use it as a mirror for how you can do this. And if you can show through your own example, someone might eventually come to you and say, how is it that you're so calm? How is it that you're able to guide yourself, from a centered place through all the craziness of life? And then when they are ready, they might ask, but we don't use these practices to change others. We use it to change ourselves. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right. Why do so many spiritual seekers get caught in the trap of spiritual bypassing? Charlotte said I needed this. Yeah, I think we all do. It's great reminders. That's why it's such a great book. He says the spiritual path is about being willing to face the energies that you have stored within yourself so that they can be released. Think about it. You have spent a lifetime suppressing this stuff, avoiding this stuff, numbing yourself out from this stuff, distracting yourself, entertaining yourself, doing all the things so you didn't actually have to deal with the feelings that are in there. That's what you spent a lifetime doing. Okay? So when you get to the point that you're like, okay, I want to deal with it, and the stuff starts to come up, guys, it's big and it's intense and it can feel like a wave that's going to wash you out. And so most people try to bypass. Well, I'm just going to go, up and away and just, yes, I'm witnessing it, but they're not really feeling it. Okay? And so it never really truly moves, right? It stays stuck in the body. He says it's never about avoidance. It's not about holding emotions and thoughts at bay and saying you are above them. Where people get confused is when they mistake suppression for transcendence. Suppressing how you're feeling is not transcending how you're feeling. There is a difference. Suppression happens when you push the negative energy away and try to rise above it. I'm going to read it again. Suppression, spiritual bypassing, happens when you push the negative energy away and try to rise above it. You go, okay, I'm feeling this thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go forward anyway. And it's like, hang on, feel the thing, learn from the thing, sit with discomfort just for a moment, breathe with it 2 minutes longer, right? Give it the space to start to titrate out of your system. That's how you do it, all right? He says transcendence happens when you let the energy pass through without getting involved in it. It's like you're dispassionately watching a movie. And that movie is your own past experiences that have upset you. Rightfully so, right? The things came in, they upset you. Okay. But the past is the past. Why are you bringing it into the present? All right. That's the whole point, is how do I transcend this? How do I get this out? Because it's still very much there in all of us, right? The past is there in all of us. Just wait. You're going to get triggered at some point this week. That's your past. Okay. It's present in all of us still to this very day. He says, you experience all the emotions and thoughts that come up as the stored blockage is released, but you don't let them define you. You give them room to pass through inside without resisting them. You are not defined by your past. You are not those things. You are not those triggers, those emotions, those reactions. Don't let it define you. You just witness them and go, oh, isn't that interesting? Now I kind of laugh at myself. I start laughing when I have this intense thing come inside of me and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. And then you make space for it. And you actually feel it, because I'm telling you, once you let it flow through, you feel lighter, like literally lighter. All right. And your life force energy is amplified. He says, ultimately, spirituality is about letting go of the entire ego construct. Many people get lost because they develop a spiritual ego, which is just ego with a self-concept of being spiritual. Uh-oh. The spiritual ego does the types of things that are called spiritual bypassing in today's vernacular. The bottom line is, if you don't like what's coming up inside and you use will to push it away, that's avoiding the spiritual growth. You have to sit with it, right? In my yoga therapy, I sit with people and tears start to come, right? Because they finally allow themselves to let the barriers down, to let the thing move through. The tears start to come and they immediately push it back. And I'm like, that is how we're programmed. It's amazing to watch, right? I hold space for this all the time. And I see it. It's how we're programmed. And it's like, that's why it's so helpful to have a facilitator there say, no, come back to it. Just feel what's here. How's it feel in the body? And learn to feel. We're not taught how to actually feel and digest emotions as they're coming, right? You're not meant to be happy all the time. You're not meant to be sad all the time, but you're meant to oscillate, and to feel these different things and learn how to process them as they come through. Most of us don't have a problem processing laughter or joy or whatever, but we do have a problem processing grief or, the lack of control or jealousy or all of these quote unquote negative things. We have a harder time digesting, but really it's about just breathing with them, letting them be there, not needing it to be any different, feel how it feels inside of your body, and then the thing moves through. All it wants to do is be felt. It's shocking once you realize it. All right. He says, the bottom line is, if you don't like what's coming up inside, you use will to push it down, you're avoiding it. If, on the other hand, you welcome the discomfort and use your will to relax and to remain open, it will pass. That is real spiritual growth. The growth leads to your true liberation. That's the trapdoor that opens up to this being state where you can finally experience life from a very open, calm, peaceful center. I've had glimpses of it. And it feels very good. And I know a lot of people that can live there in that space. I live in a spiritual community, so my life is not the norm. But I've seen it in action. And these people are so calm and nothing buffers them, And it's just like, yeah, they get annoyed or angry or whatever, but you see it rise on their face and just a moment later you see it fall away because they let it come and they let it go. It's not that it doesn't come. These things don't stop coming. It comes and it goes. Emotions are a normal part of the human experience. Right? We just got to stop identifying with them so much. Okay. The last one, and we'll finish up for today. Question 10. How do I reconcile spiritual ego with true spiritual progress? If you truly want to be more sincere in your spiritual growth, then understand this first. You are not here to be perfect. You are not perfect. You are not perfect. Okay? You're not perfect. If you were perfect, you wouldn't be here. Plain and simple. If you were perfect, your soul would not be on earth. All right? He says, earth is a place where souls are sent to evolve. And the way you evolve is by facing the experiences that challenge you. Plain and simple. Guys, it's a game. Our souls came here to learn. And it's a very interactive game. And it can feel very challenging and difficult. But remember, it's a game. It's a game. You transcend this. And so if you can bring that into these uncomfortable situations, these hard conversations, these difficult dynamics, family situations, work situations, whatever it is, if you can remember, I'm being challenged, oh, this is a good thing. My soul must be ready to expand and grow. This is a challenge that's coming up for my expansion. Tina says, learning to live with discomfort. We are not taught that. We're not taught that. We're taught, seek pleasure, avoid pain. Like that's what the mind wants to do. It wants to go for pleasurable and not hurt. But the truth is, these uncomfortable things lead to the most growth. Reflect in your own life. True or not true, some of the most challenging times in your life have led to the most expansive times. It's true for me. Going through the biggest challenges have also opened me in different ways that I never would have expected and never would have needed to, right? It's like people that have been handed everything on a silver platter in life, they tend to not be so deep. There's not a depth of character versus people that have had a, challenging situation and they've come through it. There's a lot more depth to that person. You can just feel it, you know what I'm saying? And it's because the challenge allows for these layers to come off and for this person to find their true essence. We need that. Earth is a place where souls are sent to evolve, and the way you evolve is by facing the experiences that challenge you. You evolve by letting go of the parts of you that can still distract you from your seat of conscious awareness. Anything that pulls you out of witness consciousness is where we're supposed to be evolving. He says it's not about making yourself into some ideal version of yourself. That creates spiritual ego. You're not after some ideal version. You're not going to some place where you're just some, monk on top of a hill. Like, stop it. That's not what we're doing. We're just trying to show up moment by moment in the witnessing place. That's it. It's about relaxing and releasing the parts of you that still believe they need something from this world in order to be okay, including needing people to think you are spiritual. All right? You need nothing from this world to be okay. You got everything inside of you. That is the truth. And that is the thing we get so confused by and lost by. I get tripped up. I teach this stuff and often I find myself, why am I looking out there for an answer? Why am I thinking some person is going to give me the insight? No, it's all in here. It's all in here. If I quiet the mind down, you're connected to source, to universal intelligence. All right. So many greats of our times have written so many books. That's what all these book club books are about. Saying, hey, time out. Stop getting distracted by the small voice. Connect into the bigger thing. Always remember, the struggles you face, the times you fall, and the moments you forget are not failures. They are exactly why you are here. You're not failing. You're learning. You're growing. It's like a little kid learning how to walk. They're going to fall down. It's part of figuring out how balance works. Okay? Every single situation that tests you is an opportunity to let go. So every time you're triggered, you're like, ooh, time to learn my lesson. Ooh, can I learn it this time? Ooh, can I walk a little further? Can I take another step? Right? This is what we're doing every time we're challenged. It's an opportunity to let go. Just like a child learning to ride a bike, you will fall. But in the falling, you learn balance. You don't fight the falls. You don't make them wrong. You use them to grow. Likewise, when life challenges you, don't resist the challenge. Allow it to refine you. If you're going through a health diagnosis, right? It feels like I've been boxed in. I can't do anything. I'm stuck with this. Use it to refine you. Use it to let go of some ideal thing, right? And just be with the body as it is. Listening to what the body needs right now, moment by moment. Seeing what the people in front of you need, right? Seeing how you can quiet the mind. when the frustration comes, when the anger comes, when all these things come up, it's like, can I just let go of that too? I know it feels very hard because it feels like your identity, but it's the false identity. It's not who you truly are. There's a piece of you beyond that, which is wild because we lived our whole life identified with that thing. Okay, I get it. The key to sincerity is to truly do the best you can. That's all that's ever being asked of you. The best you can is the holiest thing in your universe. If you put your whole heart into it, whatever comes back to you is exactly what you need to learn from. There's no shame in growth. There's no blame in not being perfect. There's only the process of letting go step by step as life shows you where you're still holding on. Life is going to continue to serve up to you exactly what you need. How do I know you're in the exact right place, doing the exact right thing? Because you are. I mean, it's like there's something bigger at play here. And so whatever dynamic is in your life, whatever situation you're facing it because this is your opportunity to grow. This is the challenge that you're being presented with. And it's a new one. It's one you haven't mastered yet. So don't beat yourself up because you're having trouble navigating it. Sit back and go, what am I learning here? What is this trying to teach me? What new do I need to pull out of myself or discover about myself in order to face the thing that's in front of me? Right? That's what this is about. Constantly. How do I know? Because that's why our soul is here, to evolve. So every situation and circumstance and relationship and dynamic is here at your service. Every health challenge, it's at your service. It's a gift wrapped in a very weird package for you to be able to learn some lessons you haven't learned yet. You probably have mastered a lot in this external world, but this is an internal lesson. And it's big. But have fun with it, right? It's a game, okay? All right, last thing. If you make God, truth, and self-realization the pollster of your life, then everything you experience will lead you toward it. There's no need to worry about where you are or how far you have to go. You just have to be willing. Be willing to release what is pulling you down. Be willing to surrender your personal self to something greater. Be willing to die to the small self so that something vast and infinite can take its place. That is sincerity. That is the path. Your large self can be there. Amazing. Allow it to refine you. Yes. Very helpful as I was mom's caregiver. Yeah. It's there's so much to this, and it applies to every situation, whatever dynamic you're in right now. Well, you needed to hear this, and this was just a gentle reminder. I hope that all of you have this book, and you're going back and you're reading and you're rereading it. It's like, honestly, it's going to help you navigate life. We're going to move into chapter 4 next week. Okay, witness consciousness. So this is the thing, I've talked about it a lot today. Witness consciousness. So we'll dive into that next week. I look forward to it. Enjoy your week, guys. Enjoy whatever is unfolding, literally. And if it's triggering you and challenging you, fantastic. Your soul is going through some growth right now. All right. So sending you lots of love. Just reminding you of all these things. I appreciate you doing book club with me, and I'll see you next week.